Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star 2, Land of Origin based on novel. So let's start. The blood-colored insect vanished and reappeared repeatedly, trying to penetrate the world's membrane wall. Yet each time, it was blocked by the thick and sturdy membrane wall. I've heard that theft is common within Yulon City. Seeing it today, the theft techniques are indeed impressive. The three Luofeng avatars within his inner world watched the blood-colored insect and smiled. "Let me out, and I won't bother you again," the blood-colored insect said while floating in the air. "Ha ha, you choose to steal when you wish, try to invade my inner world when you desire, and now you want to leave." The three Luofengs looked at the blood-colored insect. Too late. The blood-colored insect was furious. With a flutter of its 6 pairs of small wings, it vanished instantly, reappearing near one of the avatars. This avatar was one of Luofeng's 5 types of avatars, the Heavenly Light Avatar. The Heavenly Light Avatar is the most indestructible among the 5 types of avatars. Its body is like a divine weapon secret treasure. Luofeng places great importance on this avatar, but it cannot withstand a high perfect divine body energy reserve. The more energy it has, the more the Heavenly Light Avatar will collapse and condense, requiring higher demands on the spiritual will. With a one-time perfect divine body energy reserve, the Heavenly Light Avatar has collapsed and condensed once. With a 3 times perfect divine body energy reserve, the Heavenly Light Avatar has collapsed and condensed for the 2nd time. With a 10 times perfect divine body energy reserve, is the most powerful form that Luofeng can maintain now, having collapsed and condensed 3 times. As for a stronger form, Luofeng's spiritual will cannot make it collapse and condense further. Boom. The blood-colored insect, itself like a secret treasure, collided with the Heavenly Light Avatar. Like 2 secret treasures colliding, neither sustained a single scratch. What? It's clearly the weakest avatar in terms of energy. The blood-colored insect was surprised. Seal. The Heaven and Earth Avatar merged with the inner world. At this moment, a vast heaven and earth energy formed into a colossal grinding plate, one of the life and death Tao ultimate realm secret techniques created by Luofeng, the life and death grinding plate. The huge grinding plate completely trapped the blood-colored insect, attempting to crush it. However, the insect's body, like a secret treasure, was not afraid of being crushed. Not good. The blood-colored insect was trapped within the colossal grinding plate, continuously pressed, but unable to escape. Luofeng. Do you really want to? The blood-colored insect roared angrily. Luofeng frowned upon listening. These theft forces indeed have impressive intelligence networks. He had just entered the city and registered basic information today, and already the thieving cultivator knew his name. The nearby causality avatar immediately executed the curse-killing technique. Luofeng's 5 types of avatars, World Avatar, Heaven and Earth Avatar, Time Avatar, Heavenly Light Avatar, Causality Avatar. The Causality Avatar, with its acute sense of causality, has a natural advantage and is suitable for causality-related secret techniques. Luofeng then created a technique using the life and death Tao, an ultimate realm secret technique, absolute life termination. This invisible causality curse, killing primarily targeted the blood-colored insect. In just a moment, the blood-colored insect let out a piercing scream, its aura weakening significantly. Stop. The blood-colored insect immediately spoke out. A small insect that can withstand my strike. Causality. Luofeng was surprised. Let's try again. I surrender. The blood-colored insect hurriedly said. This blood-colored insect was one of the 3 great life-bound insects he cultivated at great cost. If a life-bound insect died, he too would be severely injured. The key was that his theft technique largely relied on this insect. Surrender and you think you can just leave. The 3 luofangs looked at it simultaneously. I am willing to compensate, the blood-colored insect said with reluctance, but nodded obediently. Although the life-bound insect seemed like a secret treasure, the curse-killing technique was quite effective against it. With another blow, the life-bound insect's consciousness could be extinguished. How much can you compensate? A small amount. I won't bother with, Luofeng said. I am willing to compensate with 10,000 primordial crystals, the blood-colored insect said. Luofeng sneered, this insect of yours is not an avatar, yet it resembles one. It's much more precious than ordinary divine weapon secret treasures. I don't ask for much, just 200,000 primordial crystals. One less, and I'll kill it now. 200,000 primordial crystals. The blood-colored insect exclaimed. That's too harsh, asking for so much. You have 3 breaths' time to consider. If you don't agree within 3 breaths' time, I'll kill it. Luofeng didn't waste words with it. He had visited too many shops before and had seen similar insects, learning about the cultivation requirements from attendants. From the exchange, Luofeng estimated that the total cost to cultivate it would start from 300,000 primordial crystals, possibly even reaching 500,000 to 600,000. 2. Luofeng looked at the blood-colored insect. Fine. The blood-colored insect said grudgingly, but ultimately agreed. Give me some time to prepare. I will deliver the primordial crystals soon, the blood-colored insect said. You know where my cave mansion is, right? Luofeng said. Later, send the primordial crystals to my cave mansion. You give me the primordial crystals, and I'll give you this blood-colored insect. Receiving the primordial crystals outside, Luofeng still worried about being ambushed. It's safer to receive compensation in the cave mansion. Fine, the blood-colored insect could only respond in grief and indignation. Luofeng nodded. Sigh. Luofeng stopped browsing and immediately turned into a streak of light, flying towards his own cave mansion at an extremely high speed. This was a deal involving 200,000 primordial crystals, and naturally, Luofeng had to give it ample importance. How come I have to compensate 200,000 primordial crystals? The small figure in the distance gritted his teeth, yet he was powerless. Clearly, there is an issue with the internal intelligence of the organization. This Luo, he has unfathomable methods, and it's too difficult to deal with the numerous avatars acting together. He also quietly left to prepare the primordial crystals. What? You were robbed, and you trapped a peculiar insect from the thief. Emperor Qing looked at Luofeng, quite surprised. That insect was quite formidable. It sneaked into my inner world without a sound. But although it got in, it can't get out. Luofeng smiled. Purely relying on the inner world certainly couldn't stop the insect. But the heaven and earth avatar was best suited for merging with a world, and that was how he trapped the insect. Without sufficient compensation, I would just kill this peculiar insect. You've just arrived at Yulon City, and he already knows your name. This indicates that the force behind him is likely connected with the elders of the Elder Hall. Emperor Qing pondered and said, of course, to target a newcomer like you, an elder would not be so idle. At most, it's an order from their middle ranks. Brother Luo, if you take these 200,000 primordial crystals, they will start targeting you, Emperor Qing said. Do you think I shouldn't take them? Luofeng looked at Emperor Qing. The stealing force is nothing to fear, Emperor Qing said with a smile. We who come out of the source world have avatars. Other than high-level primordial lives, what is there to be afraid of? Just be mentally prepared. They will play dirty tricks on you in the future. Luo Feng nodded. Strong individuals who come out of the source world have avatars in their homeland source world. When adventuring in other worlds, it's usually just the avatars that die in battle, and treasures are lost. It's only beings who have escaped the braided cage that can contaminate their souls and cause their death across the source world. Adventuring out in the world, even if you're careful to hide, there will always be those who actively seek trouble. This small issue is not worth mentioning. Luo Feng didn't care. Since the other party made a move against him, they had to pay the price. A moment later, a visitor arrived at the entrance of the cave mansion. Here they come. Luo Feng and Emperor Qing both went out to meet the guest. A black-robed figure stood there, the interior of the black robe filled with mist. This mist twisted and observed Luo Feng and Emperor Qing. Luo Feng, right? The black-robed mist twisted as it spoke. Are you sure you want 200,000 primordial crystals? You can choose not to give them. Luo Feng looked at it. Emperor Qing also calmly observed the black-robed mist. Strong individuals from the source world have a hint of pride in their bones. If it really comes to a life-and-death fight, who would be afraid? Very well. The black-robed mist nodded, and suddenly a pouch flew out from the mist. You check it. It contains 200,000 primordial crystals. Luo Feng reached out to receive it, his consciousness penetrated and searched it, and he nodded to confirm, correct. Immediately, Luo Feng thought, and released the imprisoned blood-colored insect from his inner world. As soon as the blood-colored insect came out, it immediately disappeared into hiding. The black-robed mist turned and left. I was ordered to target Luo Feng, but this time I failed. I cannot be the one to compensate the entire 200,000 primordial crystals. The small figure joined the black-robed mist inside the large spherical creature. The black-robed mist glanced at its subordinate and coldly said, observing the prey is the most basic ability. Your failure is due to your own lack of skill. The small figure was quite frustrated. Theft, failure is normal. Running into tough opposition, getting caught, it could happen. But such an occurrence, the cost was too great. This time, he lost a full 200,000 primordial crystals. Remember, do not completely trust the intelligence, said the black-robed mist. He took so many primordial crystals from me, just like that. The small figure was somewhat unwilling to let it go. Emperor Qing is from the source world, and this Luo Feng must also be from the source world, the black-robed mist said. Do not easily act against divine emperors who come out of the source world. It's not worth it to act impulsively just to feel good for a moment. The small figure was quite upset. It's my loss. Of course, you don't feel the pain. Wait for the opportunity, wait for the right opportunity. Strike once and make that Luo Feng really regret and feel the pain. The black-robed mist glanced at the small figure. Killing a few avatars of a strong individual from the source world doesn't really hurt them. We must steal their true treasures. You should keep a close watch on that Luo Feng. Once you discover information about his important treasures, immediately inform me. After a successful move, I'll give you a 10th, instructed the black-robed mist. The small figure nodded. He was already looking for prey. Naturally, he would pay extra attention to Luo Feng. Just arrived in the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm, the thing I lack the most is primordial crystals. Luo Feng was quite pleased with the 200,000 primordial crystals. Added to what Emperor Qing loaned him, it amounted to a total of 300,000 primordial crystals. He could afford to be a little extravagant now. Immediately, Luo Feng began a large-scale purchase. Every time he went out, he would not carry more than 5,000 primordial crystals, spending 3 days to carefully observe, making purchases numerous times, spending slightly more than 190,000 primordial crystals to acquire everything he needed. It's time to start closed-door cultivation. Looking at the many resources piled in front of him, with the most being the remains of the innate primordial life, some were a bottle of blood, some a feather, or a bone, he bought more than 300 portions of such remains, with an average price of about 300 primordial crystals each. Compared to the mysteries contained in Star Tower, an Eye of Life and Death, the mysteries contained within these low-level primordial life remains are simpler. They are slightly more profound than a complete Great Tao, but easier to understand. Turn these resources into strength. Luo Feng began his calm cultivation. Luo Feng sat cross-legged, his biomimetic Eye of Destruction opened between his eyebrows, observing a thick bone in front of him. Although the biomimetic Eye of Destruction could not match the observational abilities of high-level primordial life, within the Divine Emperor level, it was considered an extremely formidable secret technique of observation. The intricacies of life can also be utilized in this way. Luo Feng looked at the secret patterns inside the thick bone and felt suddenly enlightened, gaining new insights. Luo Feng had purchased over 300 remnants of low-level innate primordial life, either of the life type, destruction type, or a combination of both life and destruction. Moreover, all these mysteries surpassed the complete level of the Great Tao. What I need is exactly these. Luo Feng was completely immersed, fully focused on his comprehension. Low-level primordial life, high-level primordial life, world-level primordial life, primordial ancestor. Each leap represented a huge transformation in the essence of life. The complexity and profoundness of the secret patterns contained within were equally transformative. Luo Feng also realized his best way of comprehension should be to study from the low to the high, laying a solid foundation at each level of intricacy. By doing so, understanding the blood-colored scale from the Star Tower, which was the hardest, would also become much easier. A high-rise tower is built from the ground up. These remnants of low-level primordial life are the very foundation of a high-rise tower. Luo Feng absorbed a variety of knowledge with patience. As he comprehended these secret patterns, Luo Feng's path of destruction naturally broke through, reaching the ultimate realm. Having arrived in the Nine Rivers sacred realm for merely half an epoch, his path of destruction formally reached the ultimate realm. Of course, this was also because his path of destruction was already on the verge of breakthrough. Time passed. Finally, Luo Feng had completed a round of comprehension with all 300+ remnants. It's just a superficial round of comprehension, Luo Feng was somewhat surprised. Has it really been 36 epochs? It's time to start consuming primordial crystals. For the first round of comprehension, he did not use any treasures. Now, Luo Feng consumed primordial crystals, significantly enhancing his state, and began to organize the knowledge from the first round of comprehension, integrating knowledge into his own cultivation system. Just by organizing and thinking, Luo Feng had spent another 15 epochs. If I hadn't come to the Nine Rivers sacred realm, and hadn't come into contact with so many remnants of low-level primordial life, and relied solely on my own in-depth comprehension, when would I have uncovered so many mysteries? Luo Feng was quite pleased. That piece of blood scale from the Star Tower was like a light, at the farthest reach of the cultivation path. Too far from Luo Feng. Like a mortal who can see a distant star. But is it possible to walk there? The dark journey is too long and far, full of peril. Thus, more resources are needed to break through the obstacles layer by layer. Start the second round of comprehension. This time Luo Feng, in the state of using primordial crystals, went through his comprehension carefully. This second round of comprehension was clearly much faster, taking only 12 epochs to complete. He then spent another 6 epochs to once again integrate the knowledge into his system. During this process, Luo Feng spontaneously created several ultimate realm secret techniques of the life and death Tao. Once the knowledge is accumulated, the creation of secret techniques becomes a matter of course. Begin the third round. Luo Feng picked up a bottle beside him. Inside the bottle were 3 pills that were an excellent aid for cultivation in the weaker stages, called Heaven and Earth Unity Pill, each costing 30,000 primordial crystals. This was far more extravagant than consuming primordial crystals, but the effects were much better. Heaven and Earth Unity Pill was a green Dan pill, radiating a faint white light all over, stirring the mysterious fluctuations of many rules, as if it wanted to blend into the heaven and earth rules at any time. Luo Feng controlled it with a strand of strength and swallowed it. As the pill entered his mouth, boom! Luo Feng felt his whole body and even his soul become one with the heaven and earth rules. His thoughts accelerated explosively. Casually glancing around, insights emerged in his mind. The state was extraordinarily wondrous. Commencing the third round of comprehension of these remnants, Luo Feng started his comprehension. With the foundation of the previous 2 rounds, and now with the aid of the Heaven and Earth Unity Pill, Luo Feng's comprehension went straight to the essence, understanding many deeper mysteries of life and destruction. Life, destruction. Time continued to pass, Luo Feng immersed in it. The joy of seeking the Tao, brimming in his heart. Unknowingly the effect of the pill passed, Luo Feng immediately consumed the second one, fully engrossed in comprehension. Not even finished with the effect of the second pill, Luo Feng completed the third round of comprehension. After that, he began to sort out and integrate his insights. Boom. During this process, his understanding of the great Tao of life and death continued to rise, and he naturally grasped the complete life and death Tao. Luo Feng didn't stop. He even took the third pill and continued with his comprehension and understanding. The knowledge of life and death clashed and merged incessantly. Luo Feng felt his brain slowing down significantly in an instant. With a severe sense of fatigue and pain, his state deteriorated greatly. The effect of the pill is gone. Luo Feng finally halted his cultivation. What a good Dan pill! This Heaven and Earth Unity Pill can be taken up to 10 in a row. But after taking 10, the soul will be hurt, and will need to rest with some treasures for a few epochs. If it's just 3 or 5 pills, it's merely extreme fatigue. Luo Feng smiled. This retreat lasted 87 epochs. It was better than the 2,000 epochs of comprehension on the land of origin. Luo Feng was certain of this. With the help of many resources, the effects indeed matched dozens of times over, the key being that on the land of origin, he couldn't have come into contact with enough low-level primordial life remains, and might have hit a bottleneck. New knowledge, on the other hand, could allow for a flash of inspiration to break through the bottleneck. The great Tao of life and death has reached the ultimate realm. Luo Feng was not at all surprised. Back in the land of origin, with the great Tao of life and death, he had already comprehended 8 ultimate realm secret techniques. Accumulating a dozen more secret techniques, a breakthrough was also possible. This time, he merely pondered over the knowledge contained within the remains, and in the process, he naturally made a breakthrough on the side. Life, destruction, and life and death. I am quite certain about the future direction of these 3 paths, Luo Feng revealed with a smile. In terms of profoundness, there are the Star Tower, the Eye of Life and Death, and 2 kinds of special life remnants. Regarding the foundational secret patterns, there's also an abundance of low-level primordial life remains. Having seen enough possibilities, Luo Feng became more certain about the future. My path of life, the future direction, is to pursue the larger the life, the better, the stronger the origin of life, the better, Luo Feng determined this. Bigger is better. As vast as the source world. Even larger than the source world. My life, no longer restricted. The bigger the better, as long as I can control it, then pursue the ultimate vastness, Luo Feng thought. Other cultivators don't dare to do this. Simply being big has many drawbacks. For instance, it greatly weakens capabilities in combat, escape, and many other aspects, making one an easy target for the enemy. The destruction path pursues the ultimate killing methods, no need to worry about the rest, just need to kill. These two paths, both are extremes. Normal cultivators wouldn't do this, too many flaws. Luo Feng can do this because he also has the great Tao of life and death to fuse the two. My life and death path, however, is to integrate the two into one. Luo Feng was very clear. These three directions are all difficult. The more extreme the paths of life and destruction, the harder it is to fuse the extremes into one. Yet, Luo Feng vaguely saw such a path within the blood-colored scale of the Star Tower. That piece of blood-colored scale made Luo Feng feel the endless vast horror of the life form. However, that terrifying life form's aspect of killing was still weak. Luo Feng felt that both were indispensable. To play on the strongest point of the blood-colored scale, and then make up for its weaknesses. That would be his path. This path is difficult, and I'm just starting now. Luo Feng was still excited, because he finally had a vague plan for how to break out of the braided cage. He was also clear that the vague plan would definitely meet with many obstacles in the process of advancing. Step by step it is. Now, I need more low-level primordial life remains, Luo Feng thought to himself. Low-level primordial life, their strength ranged from early stage of Divine Emperor to the perfection. The stronger the life form, the more profound the secret patterns. The more than 300 pieces Luo Feng bought, costing an average of 300 primordial crystals each, were obviously one of the cheaper kind. Get ready, and then go hunting with Emperor Qing. Luo Feng first took the primordial crystals to recuperate for some time, and then created some secret techniques suitable for his 5 avatars, based on the complete great Tao of life and death. Once the complete Tao is comprehended, any move made at will is an ultimate realm secret technique, and he can even combine many moves to create forbidden moves, killing moves, whose powers can qualitatively change. This is also why an early-stage Divine Emperor Enlightened is comparable to a middle-stage Divine Emperor Primordial Bloodline Cultivator. Unknowingly, another 3 epochs passed. It's time to come out of seclusion. Luo Feng felt well prepared and immediately got up and walked out of the quiet room. Emperor Qing knew that Luo Feng was in seclusion and was very patient. His first time coming to the 9 Rivers Sacred Realm, he too was purchasing various resources to further his strength before going out for adventuring and hunting. Emperor Ming and Di Fu went out again. Emperor Qing shook his head slightly. They are diligent in going out. Emperor Ming and Di Fu did not carry a single primordial crystal with them when they went out. Absolutely poor. The two of them naturally were not afraid of being robbed. They wandered around Yulon City, looking for opportunities. They even went to some merchants to look at the remains. Although they viewed them through a separate space, and could not see in great detail, they could still garner some gains. Di Fu's strength is too weak. He even struggles to find work in Yulon City. However, Emperor Ming, with his primordial bloodline, barely reached the early stage Divine Emperor strength and could find a job, Emperor Qing thought, but he seems dissatisfied. Regarding this, Emperor Qing couldn't be bothered to interfere too much. Providing a free place to live was already a big help. Suddenly, Emperor Qing sensed Luo Feng leaving his space. Emperor Qing, Luo Feng also saw the distant Emperor Qing at a glance. Finished your seclusion? Emperor Qing was surprised and smiled. Why so soon? It's the first time coming to the 9 Rivers Sacred Realm. You still need to understand those resources properly. Almost there, Luo Feng smiled. I'm getting ready to purchase suitable weapon secret treasures, and then I can go out for hunting. Oh? Emperor Qing showed joy, ready to go out for a hunt. This video will end here.